Hi, Matt Bisogno here again, and welcome to another edition of Gold Nuggets. Tonight, we're going to look at the Southall race card tomorrow from a jackpot perspective and use a few of the tools to try to put together a jackpot permutation. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so the race card that we want to look at tomorrow is Southall, and it's an all-weather card. It consists of the jackpot component consists of the first 6 races, 2 12-runner apprentice handicaps, 2 9-runner novice stakes, and a 7-runner 6-furlong sprint handicap and a 9-runner 5-furlong sprint handicap. So an interesting card. The first thing I normally do is check for the weather to see if that's going to have any impact on the going. Now, Southall is on the slow side at the moment as they bed in their new surface, so we're going to assume that it is standard to slow and there's nothing to report there. During the course of this video, I'm going to show you a few of the tools that I use, and they're all available to you as well if you're a GG's Gold subscriber, or a subset of them will be available to you if you're a free subscriber. Because we're looking at the tomorrow's jackpot permutation here, you can see that the jackpot tomorrow is at Southall. Starts at 12.52. Of course it does. Certainly not 12.50 or 12.55. That would be ridiculous. There is always a reason for that, of course. The pool size is 10,000. Now that's important because we need to, when we're doing a jackpot, we need to think about how difficult it is likely to be to get all 6 winners. Obviously that's a difficult thing anyway, but is it going to be a fiendishly difficult thing, or is it going to be quite an easy thing, relatively speaking? And then B, we need to consider whether the cumulative odds will be either greater than 10,000 to 1, in which case we'd be better off just doing an SP accumulator or skipping the day and having a look another day. And we also need to bear in mind that if there are multiple winners, those other winners are going to have to share the £10,000 pool with us, and therefore that's going to impact the dividend potentially quite significantly. So we're kind of walking a tightrope between it being not too easy that there are multiple winning tickets and not too difficult that the cumulative odds pay greater than the pool guarantee, which is 10,000. Now there's 3,500 rolled over. The pool might go above 10,000, but it probably won't. Just one other thing to say about the tote, and I'm not affiliated with them in any way, so this is just me passing on my awareness. The pool size is 10,000, but if you make your bets on the tote website, they actually top things up by 10%. That's quite significant here because it makes the pool 11,000. I guess it doesn't really matter what the pool is. Essentially, the dividend, whatever the dividend pays, officially, your payout could be 10% greater if you strike your wager at the tote.co.uk. Right, let's have a look at the race card. So we are Southall. I'm just going to refresh so I've got the latest view of everything. Now, if you're not particularly familiar with Southall, then it's worth clicking on this course info link on the right hand side, and you can get all sorts of data. I do need to speak to David about the new track, because of course it's not it's not fibre sand anymore, it's changed to tappeta, and that's something that we'll touch on in a moment. There is all sorts of other information on here about top trainers and jockeys and so on, but if you're a Gold subscriber you can get more detail on that from other places such as our reporting. Okay, so let's go to, actually I want to open one more tab because you can never have too many tabs open, and I'm going to go to the old ggs.co.uk/ppot, PPOT /, and this is the GG's Pool Bets Ticket Builder. It's a very ugly, rudimentary page, but it does a great job of helping me frame my tickets for whether I'm doing a pick 4 or a jackpot or a place pot or a place 6. I use this. One other thing about the tote is that on these wagers you can actually stake. You can do perms from as little as 1p. So that, although obviously if you're doing what the dividend is declared to £1. So let's say there was one winning ticket, the dividend would be £10,000. If you had only 1 pence of it, 1p of it, 1% of it, you'd be playing for £100. Now, if your bet's £2, then £100 is a good outcome. If your bet is £120, then £100 is not a great outcome. But I'm going to show you in a second ways to potentially, even if you're playing for pennies, ways to get multiple legs up. And that hopefully won't make much sense at the moment, but soon will. So I'm going to set this as base bet of 1p, and I'm going to put my budget at 100, just so that I've got a bit of wriggle room. Obviously you may well be betting significantly less than that, and that's fine. If I click create, this gives me my framework within which I'm going to place my selections, and then at the bottom beneath the visible area currently, in fact if I just put that there, that'll help. At the bottom, actually it doesn't help, we'll look at that in a second. Okay, so anyway, this is the ticket builder, and we'll look at that in more detail shortly. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I consider anything really from a betting perspective is I want to get an idea for the market shape. I want to know how they bet in the 6 races. So I'm going to go over to good old odds checker, and I'm going to find Thursday's racing. I'm going to click on the first race at Southall here, and we can see, I'm just looking at the general shape of it, and we can see that we've got kind of sort of 4-1 3 horses and then 8-1 bar. This market is a bit confused, which is interesting, but it looks a competitive race to start us anyway. And then in the second race we've got 2 runners at around about 2-1, so we've got a kind of a stronger top of the market look in the second race. Of course it may not play out this way, but I'm just trying to get a feel for how things are. The first of the novice races has an odds-on favourite, and the unraced second favourite is taking some early support. Now I would definitely be looking at this race in more detail closer to the time. I think the second favourite is probably taking support because there's a lot of dead wood in here, and it's a good shape each way race with 9 runners at the moment. So, but that's a potential banker there. Certainly I wouldn't be wanting to go more than 2 deep. It's interesting that this third horse is 7-1 in one book and 4-1 tops in the others. I think that's defensive pricing there. The second division of the novice stakes also has a fairly short favourite, and an unraced horse taking support against it. So again, we've got fairly strong top of the market in that race there. In the 5th race, which is a handicap, sprint handicap, we've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 6 horses priced in single figures, and a few again taking a bit of early money at the top. And then in the last leg we have what looks a very competitive race again. Now I like the last leg to have a short priced favourite, even if I don't especially like the favourite, because it gives me some options to kind of trade out of the bet to manage the situation if I'm still going. For instance, today, as I'm recording this, the jackpot was at Ludlow, and I had tickets to win about £450 if the favourite won, which I had singled. I'd put the favourite as a banker. As it turned out, he didn't win, but I was able to lay him on Betfair to get my stake back plus a little bit, which would have taken about £150 out of my 450 return. But I was obviously ensuring my position to get a free bet. So as it turned out, I won about a fiver, as opposed to winning about 300. Don't worry about the numbers, but the point is that if you've got a short one in the last leg, there are things you can do to manage the situation and kind of lock in a profit regardless. Green up in the parlance. Okay, that's a very long introduction. The management summary of all of that is that the shape of these races look playable, and I'm going to try to frame a bet around that. So let's go back to the first race. Now, it's 3-2 on the field here. This is a 7 furlong handicap. A couple of things I want to do before we start, before we start filling in the numbers, is I want to go to the draw analyzer on GG's. And this is kind of a lazy shortcut way of doing it, because we know that the surface changed from fibre sand to tappeta in early December. What we can say is, though, that while we won't actually have all of the races by doing this, if we change the dates to 2022, we'll have all of the races from the beginning of January. We can see there are 17 such races of 8+ runners. I'm probably going to look at handicaps only, which does narrow it down to 11 races. Not the biggest sample size in the world, but we can use percentage of rivals beaten to give every runner in all of those races. So that's 114 runners, to give each of them some meaning in terms of the data. And what we can see is that low drawn have slightly outperformed middle and high, albeit in this small sample size. And we can look on the constituent chart to see that more clearly. So this 0.50% is average. Beat as many as beat you, if you like. And we can see that kind of 1, 2, certainly the inside 2 stalls have outperformed expectation a little bit so far this year. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to Query Tool just to flesh this out a bit more. So here I can just change this to be 07, 7th of December, which I happen to know was the first day of the new surface, and to today, which is fine. And then we're going to select course, Southwell, race code, flat weather. Then I'm going to go handicap, distance 7 furlongs, and runners 8+, and click generate report. Now I've got 16 races as opposed to 11, and 48 places. Now what I haven't got on here is the percentage of rivals beaten. So what you get with one hand, you get taken away with the other. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by, move my mug out of the way so you can see this, actual draw, and generate the report. Okay, I can move that back up there now. Okay, so we can see that stall 7, a bit of a quirky outlier with 5 out of 16 winners. Stalls 1, 2 and 3, good couple of winners each, and quite a few places. I think looking at the chart on the place version is probably going to be the most instructive, and we can see that on the each way percentage, probably not a huge amount in it. The outside traps seem to have struggled a bit, with the exception of that one stall 14, which is 2 from 2. Problem with small sample sizes is that they can be a little bit scattered. I think ultimately I'm kind of leaning a little bit to inside draws, but I don't want to be I wouldn't completely exclude a wider drawn horse on the basis of this very partial early information. So I just want to keep that in mind while I'm looking at these two 12 runner races. In actual fact, why don't we just change the number of runners on here, although it's going to truncate the sample size a bit more. If I just make that 10, we can see that it's still, yeah, it's fairly unclear. I mean, the distribution of places is pretty even, to be honest. So I think I'm going to say there is no draw advantage. That was a lot of to do about nothing. Okay, so here's the race. It is an apprentice handicap, so some riders are better than others, and it is a 0 to 60, so it's not the greatest race in the world. Let's have a look at Instant Expert. I'm going to put this on the place and try and be as forgiving as possible. There isn't. I'm looking for mainly for horses I want to exclude, and apart from Machion, who looks pretty moderate. That was over 5 furlongs. This is 7, stepping up in trip. Interesting though. Yeah, there's not a huge amount to go at here. Street Poets had a couple of goes and got whacked, and this is on the new, you can see by the dates, this is on the new surface. Those were at a mile. This is dropping back to 7, which is a better trip for him. Kind of a mixed bag. The Newcastle Straight 7, you kick that one out. He's been run well at Wolverhampton a few times. He is kind of a Wolverhampton specialist. So I think he's probably the sheep in wolf's clothing here. This Al Solella seems to run pretty well generally. Obviously I backed him each way last time and he ran absolutely horribly. But he's dropped down the weights a bit. He's £8 below his last winning mark. And I think I'd want him to be close to the ticket. So I think what I always look at the market closer to race time when I'm doing these bets. So what I'm framing now is not the bet I'm going to make. It's it's kind of a straw man, if you like. Pace in the race. Let's have a look at that. We can put I don't want to put the graphic on the heat map on actually, because I think it's going to be misleading because it includes the old FiberSand data. I think we're going to strip that out very soon. What we can see is that there's no obvious early speed. There's nothing in the lead column, and if we look at the data we can see that a couple of horses led 4 starts back, Wrath of Hector and Street Poet, but generally speaking this doesn't look like it's going to be too busy early, and it could be a bit of a messy race. I think ultimately I want to go deep here, and I'm not going to be too clever about it. I'm noting that Joe Macy and Ruth Carr and Mark Usher are in a little bit of recent form, but I'm not getting too excited about any of this. Yeah, I'm going deep here. I'm actually probably gonna step away from Street Poet and let him beat me if he can, and I'm going to put 1, 3, 6 on A at this stage. So I'm dragging these across here. 1, 3, 6, and you can see just the top of the ticket here. Let me just move that up a little bit, and now you can see the whole thing. So put my bonds back there a second. Okay. So I'm going to put 1, 3, 6 on A. I'm actually going to use pretty much all of these. I'm going to put 5, 7, 8, 10. 2, 5, 7, 8, 10 on B. 2, 5, 7, 8, 10 on B. And no, I'm going to let those 4 beat me if they can. Now normally I want to add the favourite somewhere as well, unnamed favourite, but I'm not really loving this race particularly. This is a hold-up horse in what looks like being a slowly run race. I don't think that's a recipe for success particularly. So I'm just going to leave that as it is for now. I'm going to move on. Now between now and placing the bet, I am going to look in a little bit more detail and watch a few races and look at the comments particularly for Southall form and see. I also want to look at the fast finishers, but when I checked earlier, there was very little of interest on there for tomorrow. I can change this to Southall like that. And yeah, there's not a huge amount to get excited about. This Trevi Fountain maybe ran a little bit better than it appeared last time, run since 0, so that's in the race we just looked at. Trevi Fountain, I will definitely be looking at that a second time. So it ostensibly ran poorly, missed the break, but got an upgrade of 5 here and got a big upgrade the time before as well. In fact, it's got a few big upgrades, and in between those upgrades managed to win a race as well. So that one could be interesting, though I suspect he's a permanently slow starter, and he might just get away with that if the race is run slowly. So I might actually promote him to the A ticket. Why not? Let's do that for this video. Okay. The other now these are sorted by sectional upgrade, but I want to sort them by time just so that I'm aware. This the other thing to note actually with these always is that the context within which the horse recorded its fast finish. So Trevi Fountain on the 7th of Feb, the race was run at an even tempo throughout, and he was able to finish well in that context. Contrast that with Intervention, whose run on the 15th of January at Lingfield was in a race that was run very quickly early and quite quick in the middle, and consequently they finished slowly. You can see the race finishing speed was 96%. And actually Intervention ran very efficiently, getting a kind of a 0 upgrade, but he finished the race much more quickly than the winner, almost certainly because he just did even fractions throughout, and we can check that out on the race card. So Intervention, was that last time or time before? 2 back at Lingfield. Okay, so it was this run here. So if I just put the sectionals on, we can see that he was a mile back and then closed from 17 lengths behind to a neck behind a kind of presumably tearaway leader. Anyway, Intervention is an interesting horse in this race, definitely, and he's the favourite, so clearly just about everybody is aware that he's an interesting horse in this race. Magic Gem also, although they're both having their first runs at the track, certainly in the last 2 years. It's a very fair track, to be honest. That wouldn't bother me unduly. I like to see course form at any course, but this one is riding pretty fair, I think. Where are we? There's Magic Gem right in the middle. Got a reasonable draw, prominent run style in what should be an even gallop. And where's our other lad? Intervention shouldn't be should be able to get just ridden handy behind the leaders. He's certainly going to get closer to these front runners than these guys here, is my guess. The top of the market certainly figures to get the run of the race at least. So I'm going to go 4 and 8 on A. And you'll notice that I'm guided quite a lot by the market, and that is just because although sometimes I may have a counter market view, like for instance this number 8 horse in the first Trevi Fountain, who's a bit further down the lists. Generally speaking, if I don't like the top of the market, it's probably me that's wrong. And I've learnt this through bitter experience that even when I don't want to be with one, like Street Poet in the first race, I end up putting it somewhere, usually, just because if I can't see the case for it, it doesn't mean there isn't a case for it. Okay, so who are the specialists? Bobby Joe Legg was a winner here in January over this trip, this grade, off 51. He's off 52 now, so he can certainly win again. He led that day. Fair chance he gets the lead here. He's got a couple of potential contenders, Thayer and perhaps Baron Run, but I would imagine that he'll go forward, so he's definitely got a squeak, as has Thayer actually. So I'm probably going to put those two on B, 1 and 7. And I'm just not sure if I want to go particularly deep here. I don't think I do. You can't obviously go deep in every race. This Luxy Lou is having a first run on the all-weather by the look of it. Had a few goes on the turf, running close. Been off for 180 days. Trainer's record off a layoff. Not terrible, but not brilliant either. Been profitable, but 8% strike rate. I'm going to have to let that one beat me. Again, I'm going to look at this race in more detail, so I'm trying to balance the time of the video, and I'm conscious it's quite long already, with showing you how I frame this kind of thing. Now, in the novice races, I often go shallow in the novice races. In other words, don't take too many. This Criollo was quite a good winner last time, and is entitled to improve again on only third start. Haggis trains, had 4 weeks since his last run. Same trip, different track. I mean, we don't know what this one is. Any of these could step forward a little bit, but on Racing Post ratings anyway, would have to step forward a chunk. On Top Speed, would have to step forward a chunk of those that have run on the all-weather, and on Peter May's ratings, they'd also have to do that. So, kind of looking at Criollo as nearly a banker, and probably going to put 1 and 8 on the B or C ticket, and I'm not sure which, but certainly I'm going to put 4 here, and probably put the other two on C, 1 and 8. 1 and 8, and the Fav. Okay, moving on. The second of the novice races, second division of the same, so it's another 7 furlongs. The first 4 races are all 7 furlongs, so that gives us a few interesting clues from timing perspective about how they've done subsequently. The favourites had a couple of goes, ran well at Kempton behind a fair horse, was close up on the lead there. But actually, this Newmarket form is very good as well. Zane Claudette was I think she won. Did she win the Lowther at York? Maybe I just completely made that up. Let's have a look. She did win the Lowther. Yay me! And also the Princess Margaret Stakes at Ascot. So clearly bumped into one that day, and was only beaten a length and a quarter in 5th. So that was obviously a very good run, and backed that up when nearly, well, beating everything bar Fast Attack, another good horse last time, unless Al Hadja is very smart and could be. Not a bad pedigree, a dirt pedigree. Unless that one is smart, then the favourite looks to have a strong chance. Interestingly, they're the two GG's riders, so I hope they fight out the finish. This one got a good upgrade figure here, and yeah, it's quite hard for me to peg the value of these maiden races, but I can see here that on the ratings they've got a bit to find with their Sama. I think I'm going to go with the market again and put 4 and 8 on A. I don't think that's enough though. I think we want to be deeper here. I think I probably want 5 and 7. Not sure about this Furtado horse. 33,000 yearling. Our dad has done okay. I think it was first crop last year. Half brother to Muskika, obviously a multiple sprint winner and an absolute legend for connections. Has been one of our profile horses actually. Probably both years we've done that. I wonder if this one's didn't run at 2. That's kind of interesting in a way. No early pennies, and Furtado Ivan wouldn't be that frequent a first time winner. 3 from 50. Yeah, I'm going to let that one go. So 4, 8, 5 and 7. And I'm going to put the favourite in there as well. And you can see these tickets values adding up, even for pennies, with 2 legs to go. So the 5th leg is a good 6 furlong handicap, 0 to 85. And again, the number of runners here is 7. So I was a little bit apprehensive about smaller fields. If I just make this 5 to 9, then I'm going to change the distance to 6 furlongs. Just want to have a look at the draw here. Not much data, and a fair split. I mean, a couple of winners out wide. Most of the placed horses more inside, but again, there's not really. I'm not getting a strong feel that there's any bias in play there. The pace map could be interesting. I'm just going to refresh that quickly. Oops. What can we see here? Looks like the inside one, Tussarok, has a good chance of leading. A Johnston horse on the front. Tipperary Tiger, who's quite a short favourite, he might get a bit of traffic in running. He might have to go 3 wide at the bend. That would be a slight negative for me. And Hal and Patsy are going to make their runs later based on what we know from recent starts anyway. They've both been, although Shallow Hal has raced prominently a couple of times, but Patsy Fagan is habitually a midfield or hold-up horse. Any alacrity for the track? So we can see that this is on the win actually. Tipperary Tiger is a dual winner since they've changed the surface. Shallow Hal, just the one run since the new surface was bedded in, only 4th, although he was 16 to 1 that day, so probably ran better than market expectation. Patsy has had a couple of runs since the new surface and won them both, so that's interesting as well. Tricky race this. I'm inclined to put all 4 of those in. 2, 3, 5, 7. And do I want the others? Tosserok he's got track position from the inside draw, but hasn't got a lot form wise to recommend him. That's a pretty scabby track record of nearly winning but not winning. trip is not obviously ideal either. Yeah, I'm kind of inclined to take him off the ticket actually. I'm going to put him on B. And I'm going to put the Fab on B as well. I'm just not sure if I want to put any of these. Somewhere you've got to go, you've got to have a counter market opinion somewhere. And so far I've singularly failed to do that, albeit in this quick fire, relatively, video session. This one was 1 at Wolverhampton over 7. Yeah, didn't quite see it out at the faster trip on the straight track at Newcastle. No chance with winner. Trainer change, anything of interest there? John Butler, low strike rate on the trainer switch, low PRB. No, not really exciting me there. Tony Coyle had a winner last time. 22 runner race this was. Apprentice handicap. On soft ground over 7. This is a very different proposition. All weather over 6. Yep, not screaming. Obvious chance, and the other one's a rag. So then we come to the last race, which is a 3-2 on the field job, 5 furlongs. Now the 5 furlong track seems to be showing a little bit of bias, and this is something worth being aware of. We can see that if we look at there have been 17 winners, you can see here, 17 winners between 8 and 12 runner handicaps over 5 furlongs at Southall. Let's just pop those filters on so you can see that, what I'm talking about, since the new surface. And we can see that 8 of the 17 came from the inside 3 stalls, and 11 of them came from the inside 6. And look at the place numbers. In fact, if I just put this on the chart, you can see that the kind of the percentages for the inside 4 stalls. And, sorry, when I say inside, this is the straight track, straight 5 at Southall. So what I actually mean is the far side seems to have a slight edge, although it might be that very high also. So either rail it might be, but they've tended to favour the far side so far. And what you are seeing, or what I've been seeing, is that in some of these sprint handicaps, certainly in the bigger fields, the higher drawn horses are taking a pull and sort of diagonally veering across to the other side, which means obviously they're covering more ground. But connections consider that a viable alternative to being on what they perceive to be the wrong side of the track. So that's quite an interesting snippet on the 5 furlongs. There have been quite a lot of 5 furlong races, and it's worth watching them. I think it's fair to say that there is an advantage to be drawn low. And looking at this lad, who unfortunately was a bit of a demon on the deep fibre sand, doesn't seem to have quite got it together yet on this slower surface, and he was drawn kind of in the middle. He was beaten 10 lengths, so I sort of want to take a chance on him, but I know that this 4 from 8 is misleading because of the surface. Let's get that on the draw again. See, if I put it on the last 1 year, you can see these 0 from 2, 0 from 3. It's not enough. I'm going to go with 5 and 7, definitely. See, this guy's been a regular. Scott Dixon trains at the track, so that's no surprise there. Yeah, that was a valuable race last time. Actually didn't run badly. This is a drop back down from class 2 to class 4, where he's been very competitive. He figures to be close to the lead. You can see he kind of he got squeezed out at the start last time. Prior to that, he'd led twice. Air Show has led 3 of the last 4. Jamie rides tomorrow, interesting. Darkside Prince has led in 2 of his last 4. There's quite a lot of pace in here. Possible contested speed, as you can see. Yeah, I think I want to be with the speed here. And I want to be with Air Show and Fine Wine and Darkside Prince 5, 7, 9. Just worried about these being drawn on the wrong side, although they're obviously, their form figures suggest they've got a chance. Yeah, let's go with 5, 7, 5, 7, 9. I just need to have a look at that Hey Mister as well. 5, 7, 9. See, this was on the old fibre, but nevertheless he does figure to lead, and his place record over 5 furlongs on the all-weather is obviously pretty striking. And in this sort of field size, so he's definitely a runner. Let's have a look at this Hey Mister quickly. A trainer change goes to Les Air, first time wind up. Trainer has a good all-weather record, a good record off a layoff. As we can see here, good record with sprinters. You'd have to be interested in this horse. Wouldn't have to improve it much. Harry Burns is doing well so far. Yep. I mean, there's the question mark about the first time on the all-weather. I think it's the first time on the all-weather. Let's have a look. No, he's had 1 go on the all-weather before. Yeah, there. These were for Roger Variant. You see, when he won a soft ground handicap over 5, rated 77, went up to 84, and now he's back to 76. So he's kind of, yeah, he's definitely a runner for me, I think. So I want to put that 8. Just do that there, and that there, and then the other thing about this last leg is if you've gone, as I have, 4 deep here, I mean, I can't really leave out the first 2 in the market, even though I do feel like those high draws are quite a big negative. See, when he was this day over course and distance, it was a better race. It was a class 3 handicap. He was drawn 11 of 13, and he finished 11th of 13, beaten 10 lengths, and that was a 9-2. Just stumbled at the start, it says, but just never got into it. Yeah, I think I'm going to side against them both, and Devil take the hindmost, and I'm going to leave it at that. What I might do? No, that's it. I'm going to leave it at that now. I need to move my mug out of the way. I'll just put it up there for a minute. You can see at the bottom they've got these 2 times 2, 3 and 4, and what I tend to do is on my all A ticket, which is always ticket 1, that's all of these selections here, I always do times 4, and on my A's with 1B, so that would be 5, that would be B, A, B, A, B, A, and A, B, A. So those are the 4 tickets there, 1, 2, 3, 4. I do those 2 times like this, and you can see that the cost, this is going to go to 256, and that essentially is my ticket value there is 41.60. and I would then go away and manually enter these tickets into the tote one by one using the quick pick functionality, which is a lifesaver. It's very much quicker than, so you can just, I'll have the tickets here and I'll just quickly punch them in and so on. Doesn't take too long. So for 12 tickets it would take me 6-7 minutes, I guess. And that's that. My total stake is 41.60 in this fictional or semi-fictional example. And yeah, I think I probably will be playing the Southall Jackpot tomorrow. I haven't really got a strong counter market opinion very far, but I've got quite a few options in a number of the races. I've got quite a lot of coverage, and the great thing about this ticket builder is that it perms up your strongest opinions with a subset of your weaker opinions, and kind of does the number crunching to get the best combination of those things. So I wanted to show you a few things about the draw at Southall, and particularly on the new track. I wanted to show you the ticket builder. I wanted to show you how I navigate, certainly in short order, or relatively short order, how I navigate the race cards. Yeah, do a little video. It'd be interesting to see how those go tomorrow, or probably today when you're watching this. Just before I close, the new tool, I need to add it to the menu actually. But if you go to the tools page, you'll see this new purple one, bet calculator. Click on that, and you can work out what your bet's going to pay. So let's say we had a Trixie win only. Let's say they all won and they were all 3-1. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? For a fiver, £20 staked, and it'd be returning £560. Just got to find 3-1 winners. Not too difficult, is it? If only. Okay, so yeah, that's a new tool we've got. It's in beta. We think I've tested and retested combinations, including the each way and the rule 4 and dead heats and all sorts of things. I'm pretty sure we're where we need to be with it, but if you do spot anything, then obviously let us know. And yeah, that's live now, and it's one of our 7 tools on the tools page. Okay, that's plenty for today. Thank you very much for watching. If you've stuck with it this far, that's quite amazing. Well done. And it'd be interesting to see how that Southall Jackpot goes tomorrow. Okay, Matt was only saying goodbye for now.